Good evening, everyone. You are in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday, October the 18th, 2016. Good to have you all here for our first of three shows this week. A fairly normal week for us. Our sports wrestling tonight, entertainment Thursday, football blitz right now scheduled for Friday. So a fairly normal week for us here on the show, which you don't get too often, but we do have a fairly normal week here. That's nice. We get to do what we normally do and kind of go into things a little bit. So that's fun. We have a pretty fairly straightforward show tonight. We're going to do some baseball playoffs. There's a couple games going on today. We'll talk about the game that's already transpiring, the game that's currently ongoing in just a moment. That's really our only sports stuff for tonight because obviously everything else is football related. We'll talk about that on the football blitz show later in the week. So that's all the sports stuff you're going to get from us here tonight. And then the rest of the show will be wrestling. We'll talk about the fallout from last night's huge Monday Night Raw, which featured the return of Bill Goldberg. We'll talk about that, among other wrestling things, and just later on in the program. So baseball, wrestling, and that's basically our show tonight. I'll get into what's going to be happening later in the week and such in just a moment. But as always, want to remind you all of the ways in which you can contribute and interact with our show, have your voice heard, by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. If you'd like, you could use the hashtag itspotlight411 or come up with your own hashtag depending on what you're talking about or whatever. Just try to add hashtag ITS in there for us just to help promote our show. If you could, we'd appreciate it. And again, do not be disrespectful or insulting. That's all we ask. Sorry about the echo there. I was just uploading something here, so I apologize for that. Again, so just don't be disrespectful or insulting in whatever tweets you tweet us or in whatever hashtag you use. That's all we ask. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and make sure you like our page upon finding it. All right, so as I said, as I post the social media links here, as I said, 3 shows this week. Tonight, obviously, we're going to do some baseball, some wrestling, and that's our usual, our usual Tuesday show, sports, wrestling, whatever, So baseball playoffs tonight, wrestling, Monday Night Raw, all that good stuff coming at you here tonight. And then on Thursday, we are going to have our usual, it's our Entertainment Thursday, as we like to call it. Box office beat, TV highlights, our continued emphasis on fall TV. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of in-depth because, we did do it just a couple weeks ago. We kind of gave a general overview of some of the new shows that we've checked out and watched, the ones we recommend, that kind of thing. Well, I want to focus a little bit on Thursday on the shows that look like they could be in danger of cancellation, shows that might have already been canceled, that kind of thing. We'll be doing a little bit with that on Thursday. So we'll talk kind of like a miniature fall TV report where we're going to give you all an update on where things stand in the TV season so far, what shows look vulnerable, what shows don't, that kind of thing we'll be going into on Thursday. We'll also do our movie picks of the week. And something else, which I'm not going to talk about here tonight, I don't want to get into it tonight, but I'll probably do a couple entertainment news things too, but just a special topic. Oftentimes we do these focused segments, if you will, where we focus in on a particular topic. We're going to do that a little bit with the fall TV stuff where we focus on ratings and stuff. But we're going to do a little something else too. There's a reason why I'm not mentioning what it is, because I don't want to be influenced in any way about it, because it is something that I think is, it's one of those topics that you can go about a few different ways. And I guess I just want to surprise you all with it. And something that a number of you have mentioned before. We're going to talk about it on Thursday. So I don't want to get into it and have you guys influenced. This is one of those things where I feel like I have to do it the way I got to do it. So, I don't want like any suggestions. I don't want anything to kind of take me out of the method that I'm going to do this using. Okay. I don't want anybody to discourage me from doing it the way I'm going to do it on Thursday. Sometimes I say something and then, I get comments, I get suggestions, and it kind of it makes me think we should do it another way, and I do it that way, and I'm not satisfied. I feel like we could have done it better. Sometimes you have to listen to your gut, and then 99% of the time I listen to the audience. There's that 1% of the time where you got to go with your gut because you kind of feel like the segment will work better if you do it your way. So the topic I'm listening to you all on, but the strategy and the approach I'm going to take, I'm going with my gut on. So it's kind of like a compromise, if you will. So we'll be doing that on Thursday. A couple of special things we're doing on Thursday, and then obviously Friday, the football blitz. Right now scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. On Friday, we will be, obviously, as you always do, looking back at the weekend that was in college football and NFL, and then looking ahead to this weekend in the college football and the NFL. We'll be doing all that on Friday in the Spotlight Football Blitz. As for next week, we'll talk more about that on Thursday. Right now, all I can tell you is that next Thursday, we'll have our first all-wrestling show that we've had since SummerSlam, because we're going to have the time to finally allow ourselves to do that. I feel bad we're going to do it for a Raw pay-per-view and not necessarily for a SmackDown, but hey, we got to do it as time permits, and time permits us to do this, so we're going to do it. So next Thursday, you have an all-wrestling show previewing WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and that means on Tuesday, we'll be doing a sports entertainment combo show. So that's a real insight into what's happening next week, but we'll talk more about that on Thursday's show. In the meantime, I want to welcome in my co-host, Mike. Mike, you're in the spotlight.
Be in the spotlight. I talk a lot.
I do talk a lot. I do. It's not really, something I hide, but I do talk a lot. Yes. Okay.
And when you talk, you sound like this a whole lot. You sound like this. I'm Brian Gardner. This is in the spotlight of Brian Gardner with your host, Brian Gardner, produced by Brian Gardner, starring Brian Gardner, featuring Brian Gardner, written by Brian Gardner.
Yep. So,
by the way, I said breath. You're welcome.
I'm well aware of that. That was actually pretty awesome. I'm not disputing any of this with you at all. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to do baseball, some wrestling. So, pretty straightforward show here tonight. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I posted the links right, because sometimes you don't post all the way. Okay, here you go. Okay, they're posted. All right. So we're going to start off like I said, we're going to do baseball, wrestling. We're going to start off in baseball tonight. Obviously, there was a game earlier which could have been a completed sweep by Cleveland. It wasn't. The Toronto Blue Jays lived to see another day. As the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Cleveland Indians 5-1 behind an awesome performance by Aaron Sanchez. I do not understand what Terry Francona did in this game. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. Terry Francona, I never was a big fan of him as a manager in Boston, because I felt like, to me, he's like the Joe Torre. He was the Joe Torre of the Boston Red Sox. Although I think Joe Torre was a slightly better manager. He was more about, gut and personality, not necessarily about X's and O's, which is great. That can be successful. It doesn't mean you're not successful. It just means you're not really as good of a manager. You're more of a just, you're just somebody that can bring people together and get people in the right position, which is a valuable trait. But in Cleveland, he's proved to me that he can actually be a good manager. He can do the X's. He can do that. So he's kind of reformed my opinion about him. Having said that, I think he made a big error in doing what he did. I understand going for the kill, so to speak. I understand going for it here and just trying to end this, all right? But to put your ace, now keep in mind, their ace, Corey Kluber, had been injured going into these playoffs, made his Game 2 start in the ALDS after being he was out. He had an injury. Looked good, yes. He made a start early in the series, was absolutely brilliant. But here's the thing. You're up 3-0 on the road in Toronto. You have the house's money here. You could put somebody out there, keep your pitching in line, no big deal. Everything works out okay. You didn't need to put your ace in this game on short rest. But here's the thing. Your pitcher just came back from injury, and you're going to leave him at risk when you don't have to pitch a game that you could win with any other starter? I mean, I don't understand this move. I can understand this move if it's a 2-1 series and you're trying to get out ahead. Even then, I kind of question it, but I can understand it more. But to be up 3-0 when you still have 2 home games in your back pocket in this series, All right, and the opportunity, like even if you lost this game, you go to him in Game 5 on full rest. You feel good about that. I don't understand why they did that. To me, it was unnecessary. It's almost. I mean, I just don't understand it. You put your pitcher at risk. And here's what you did do. Here's what you did. Okay, now I'm not saying Toronto's going to come back to win the series. I don't think they will. But if let's say for the sake of argument that they do, here's why. I'm going to tell you the key to this. Here's why. If they come back to win the series, because the momentum of beating the Cleveland Indians' best pitcher, okay, will be the reason why. Because here's the thing: you had all the momentum. You stick your ace out there, who they could not touch in his first performance. You put him out there, and now you made him think, okay, we beat them. We can beat anybody in the series. We can beat anything you throw at us in the series. You gave them momentum back. You woke up their bats. And now it's not gonna be as threatening for them, because a big part of these sports is psychological. Big part of it. Body language, psychological momentum, all that is huge. And the body language that the Toronto Blue Jays had going into this game was horrible. They looked like a broken team. They could not score. They scored 3 runs in 3 games in this series. The vaunted Toronto offense was completely shut down. You put a guy out there on short rest. He's never pitched on short rest. It's a guy that was injured 2 weeks ago. And many of us didn't even know if he was going to pitch in the first series of these playoffs. It's one of the reasons why we all got off the Cleveland bandwagon. We didn't think they had him. And when you're in a 3-0 series lead, you decide to take the risk of putting him out there, even though he's never been out there. And he didn't do a bad job. But what you did was he wasn't as sharp. He had control issues at times. And because of that, Toronto got to him. And now Toronto thinks, even though, okay, there were special circumstances, he was on shorter rest, blah, 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 doesn't matter. Now Toronto's had the idea that, okay, we got to their best pitcher. We can get to anybody. It changes their whole mindset. Their body language was different. Their momentum is different now. Now they're like, hey, you can throw anybody you want us. We think we have a chance now. You gave them a life in this series. In your attempt to shut them down, you gave them a life in this series. And you did not need to do that. Because if you had set any other starter out there and they had beaten them, you know what they're going to say? All right, well, you know what? At the same time, we beat their number 3 starter or their number 4 starter. It's not the same thing as saying we beat their ace. It's not the same thing. You gave them a mental edge now. And now, you don't have him to fall back on in Game 5. That's not to say that Cleveland still can't win in Game 5 or Game 6. Josh Tomlin, they got other guys. They got other guys. But the problem is this. They're not as good as Corey Kluber. And now you do not have him to fall back on in a Game 5 or in a Game 6. Next time you're going to see Corey Kluber in this series is probably out of the bullpen in the Game 7, because I don't think you pitch him on short rest again in Game 7. You pull a Madison Bumgarner and have him come out of the bullpen in Game 7. But again, whether he would start Game 7, which I highly would doubt, or if he came out of the bullpen in Game 7, you've taken the mental edge that he had over this team away. Because the fact, well, again, I understand he was on short rest now, but that doesn't matter. The fact is they hit him today. They did not hit him in his first appearance. He had a mental edge over them. He no longer has that mental edge. That's a major problem. That is a major problem for Cleveland right now. Now, if they come right out and win Game 5, then you know what? Forget what I said, because it doesn't matter. But if they lose Game 5 and they lose Game 6 and Corey Kluber is coming out of the bullpen or starting Game 7, you're going to say, you know what? Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. If you know, I mean, this is what I mean. It's an unnecessary risk. And it's not even a calculated risk. It's not even a calculated risk. It was a ridiculous risk. You did not need it. You have 3-0. Why are you acting like the team that's down 3-0? That's a move that a team that's losing the series makes, not a move that a team that's winning it by 3 makes. I just don't understand it. I think it was horrible decision by Terry Francona. Toronto came out to play tonight. They had the crowd. They had the momentum. Woke up, win it 5-1, and we'll see what happens. I still think Toronto loses the series. I could see Toronto getting another game, getting this to a game 6. I still think they lose, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, the way Cleveland came into this game looking so dominant, I didn't think they had a chance, but who knows? On the flip side of things, the NLCS Game 3 taking place right now out in LA. Game 3, bottom of the 4th. This game on Fox Sports 1. The Dodgers lead 1-0 in this game. This is obviously Game 3 is always a big game. It's a momentum game. The Cubs won Game 1 pretty easily. Game 2 was dominated by Clayton Kershaw. We've said a lot about Clayton Kershaw on the show. Look, I still don't think the guy can pitch against an American League team. We've seen it time and time again. He has not done well. But you know what? His postseason numbers haven't been well against anybody. Okay? This is the first performance by him in the postseason where he actually looked the part. It was a big performance by him. He was absolutely dominant. He earned his keep. Now, if he can do that, if the Dodgers were to get to the World Series, and he puts in a performance like this against an American League team, then I'll say, hey, Clayton Kershaw has finally arrived. We know he does it in the regular season. He's crapped the bed in the All-Star game. He's crapped the bed. He's shown to me that in interleague, when he plays an American League team, he struggles a lot of the time. To me, he's shown that against good offensive teams, he usually struggles. That's just the way it is. And American League is full of those kind of teams. But he showed up in Game 2. He's, the reason they tied the series and changed the complete momentum up and stalled the Cubs. Right now, the Cubs only have 1 hit against Rich Hill through 4 innings. We'll see what happens. Rich Hill has been great this year. He's been the glue for the Dodgers rotation in my mind. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game. Now, if the Cubs were to lose this, especially with Arrieta pitching, you start to really worry. And you worry because, the Dodgers still have another 2 home games. And, you got Lester. Yeah, I understand that. But I think we all know the Cubs and all the pressure they're under, especially now they're a 103-win team. This is expected of them. They were expected to get here. This is the expectation. They have to win this. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And if you get down in this series, that's when it starts to become an even bigger hill to climb. And, you look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers were a team that, somehow made it this year despite all the injuries, especially their pitching stat. They somehow made it. And right now they're relying heavily on their pitching to get them through, and their pitching's come up big. Kershaw, now Hill. Their pitching has come up big in this series, and they're going to need it to keep coming up big if they're going to win this series. Cubs have made some changes to their lineup. They benched Haywood. They're trying here to put this together. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of stunned. I'm kind of stunned by the way that the offense of the Cubs has been quieted. I know Kershaw is a really good player. But at the same time, it's a good offense. Maybe they're pressing a little bit. I don't know. They shouldn't be after the first game. But you know what? We'll see. Right now, I still like the Cubs' chances. If they lose tonight, I like them a little bit less. But if they win tonight, I think they get this done in 6. If they lose tonight, I think you're headed for a 7-game series. And I still think they'd pull it out. But, again, you never know with the Cubs. You never know. And then there's also this. The Dodgers, when asked, would not rule out Kershaw for Game 5 of the NLCS. And that's the thing. I'll tell you this, okay? Let's say hypothetically speaking, the Dodgers win tonight. All right. And then let's say the Dodgers win tonight. And then let's say they win Game 4. They'll have 3 games to 1. Now, will they pull a Francona and go to Kershaw there? I think they would. And I would understand that because here's the thing. Game 6 and Game 7 in Chicago, right? You don't want it to get back there. So you feel like you should go for it. Go for the jugular. Get it done in your building. I think it's in their building. Because I don't know. Sometimes they go to one 2-1 thing. I mean, 1-1 thing. Hang on. I'm just going to make sure I'm speaking properly here. Cubs at Dodgers. Hang on. I'm just pulling up the schedule here. Make sure I'm speaking right here. Yep. Cubs at LA Dodgers. Okay. So, again, you're in their building. You don't want to get back to Chicago, so I can totally understand putting your ace on the hill in LA if you're up 3-1 to shut it down. I can totally understand, especially when that other team already has 1 win. I can understand that. It's different than what Francona did today. Again, Dodgers lead the Cubs 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th out in LA. 1 out in the bottom of the 4th, run around for the Dodgers at second. Again, this game on Fox Sports 1. This is NLCS Game 3. We'll keep you up to date on that while we're on the air. Also, again, earlier today, Toronto beat Cleveland 5-1. Cleveland now leads the ALCS 3-1 as they head to a Game 5 tomorrow from Toronto. A big Game 5 tomorrow in Toronto. And I believe the matchup is, let me see, I'm trying to pull up the pitching props. I think they might have changed them. Just going to pull them up. Obviously, Sanchez and Kluber today. Here we go. Pitching setup for tomorrow is Merritt for Cleveland and Estrada for the Jays. So definitely a matchup that favors Toronto for sure. Cubs and Dodgers tomorrow will be Lackey versus Urias. So good matchup there. And John Lackey's a big postseason pitcher. Always has been. Big game pitcher. So that's definitely, despite the way Urias has pitched this year, it's a big matchup in favor of the Cubs tomorrow. So that's your pitching matchups tomorrow for a Game 5 in the ALCS and a Game 4 in the NLCS. So that's the way of the land in baseball. I know I kind of sped through that, but it's been pretty straightforward here so far. Mike, I don't think you have anything to add, but just in case you do you have anything to add?
I've been making funny faces at you for like 5 minutes.
Well, I haven't been paying attention. I've been looking at scores.
No kidding. Do I have anything to add? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what the Cleveland Indians need to learn. They need to make their motto. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Very true.
Shh. Don't fuck with the system when it works. That's it.
Very short and to the point. All right. So we move from baseball into wrestling, and it's been an interesting wrestling day. A couple of interesting tidbits have gotten out. Although I will start by just mentioning that WWE has released the first James Ellsworth shirt. Mike. Did you just mute yourself? Did you actually mute yourself? You back?
Yes.
You muted yourself.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, I can do that.
I know you can. Well,
because I didn't want to interrupt you while you're talking.
Oh, well,
during stupid segments I don't care about. So again, let me say what I said apparently while muted twice.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, they released the first James Ellsworth shirt. That's interesting. He's taken the wrestling industry by storm, Mike. He's taken the wrestling industry by storm.
There's a James Ellsworth shirt.
Yep.
It's just a picture of him.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I can't believe this is actually happening, but yeah, it's happening. Hey, all power to him, man. He's making something out of it. I'll tell you that. What can you do?
And unsurprisingly, there's a new Goldberg shirt out.
Well, that's a given. And speaking of Goldberg, and as we are clearly in the wrestling portion of our show, obviously it was a big night for Raw last night. The ratings were huge last night, the biggest they've been since before the football season. Goldberg helped the ratings, no doubt. Although I will say the highest rated hour was still the first hour, which it usually is anyway. But Goldberg had a great return.
The first hour is the Kevin Owens show.
That's right. I just felt like pointing that out at the first hour because you know how whenever there's somebody that comes back, they always go, "Oh, that's what's running the ratings." Well, I'm sure he helped, but the first hour was the highest rated hour. So, anyway, obviously Goldberg's return was the highlight as far as the mainstream goes. He was great. It was a great promo. Obviously, we all knew this was going to happen. I will say this. I mean, I haven't liked the way they built up to this. I don't like the way they started it. Like, by the time we got to Goldberg actually returning, it felt very anticlimactic. But he made it a moment. His entrance made it a moment. He made it a moment. It felt like something. I think I give him credit for that because obviously just seeing him in the ring, it made it a moment. So I'll give him that. But I don't like the way WWE has handled this. I mean, it just feels like I feel like they're treating it more like promotion for the video game and just something to put Brock over instead of what they should be treating it as, but whatever. Anyway, it was a good moment. We had the Sasha Charlotte things were well enough. Obviously, we'll talk more about that later. There's some back and forth going on there with the match that they're going to have. The highlight for me, Goldberg was great and all, and it was a moment, but the highlight for me was the Owens and Jericho Rollins stuff. First of all, I thought the opening promo was probably the best face promo Rollins has done, because it was the first time that they actually kind of presented him, not just in action, but in promo as a face. And he got I think the Denver crowd helped last night too. They gave him a good reaction. It felt like a face. He was a face finally, which is great because that's been kind of interesting. It's been kind of a weird transition for him because I feel like they're waiting until Triple H shows up to actually fully turn him, and it's kind of made it awkward a little bit. But Owens and Jericho were great. They had a good back and forth going. The development of that story, I know Jericho's been speaking about in interviews. It's been I like the slow burn nature of it. I like the way they progressed it. It's been really, really well done. There's good. It's not this quick turn kind of thing. I like the way they're doing it. And next week we got a big main event with them three in a triple threat. So I'm looking forward to that. But it was very, very well done. I'm not too sure about Strowman versus Zayn. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing for Zayn. I think both these guys need to be built up, not facing each other. But we'll see what happens there. Other than that, there's nothing that really stuck out to me. Oh, New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro was a lot of fun. Sheamus and Cesaro are just fantastic. I really hope that they win next week. I don't know if they will, but WWE has so much. Is it just me, or does WWE have much better luck with face tag team? And I think Sheamus and Cesaro are very close to going face. Is it just me, or do they have better luck with face tag teams when they just throw two people together than when they develop them out of NXT?
Yes and no.
Yes and
because you have to keep this in mind.
Mm-hmm.
For every VOD villains, we have Enzo and Cass in American Alpha.
Okay, fair enough.
Take the good and the bad. However, but the thing is, you have two already established stars with Sheamus and Cesaro, and you just put them through a best of 7. You gave them like 4 or 5 matches before that. Already have chemistry, and essentially they're just taking it out of the MVP and Matt Hardy playbook. Here's the thing. Sheamus is the more natural and charismatic of the two. this is relying on him, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Sheamus fan. Cesaro is a talker as Sheamus is.
No. Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
Cesaro does have fantastic in-ring charisma. He really does. However, when it comes to everything else, Sheamus trumps him. I'm talking about in-ring ability. I'm talking about out-of-ring personality, charisma, etc. Sheamus trumps him. So having this guy Cesaro can play off of Cesaro to kind of grow as a performer, which he desperately needs. There was a time when Cesaro was essentially was the number 2 or 3 face on Raw. Dog, shut up. There was a time when Cesaro was the number 2 or 3 face on Raw, and he couldn't cut a promo.
Right.
No, really, dog, shut up. Like the only face on Raw at the time who could cut a promo was Sami Zayn.
Very true.
Was having this guy that he can play off of helps him a lot. But getting back to the question at hand, they don't go this way too often. Do they better get it right? Because honestly, the only other times in recent history it's kind of worked was MVP and Matt Hardy,
right,
and Daniel Bryan and Kane, and they made it work. I feel like they can make this work if they try.
I think Mike realized.
Was it Justin?
It's Justin.
Yeah, it was Justin.
That's why. Yeah. It's Justin. There's the cameo. Yeah, I agree with you, but you know what? Look, if it works, it works. It's not like either one of them was doing anything before this anyway. So if it helps, it helps. So anyway, I already said my thoughts on Raw. Mike, you have any thoughts on last night's Raw other than what you said about Sheamus and Cesaro?
Excuse me. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I did miss like the first hour of Raw. I did. I had things to do. Now I understand that the most important, if you're a Kevin Owens fan, or the other most important things, other than Goldberg. I haven't yet had the chance to go back and watch it. I know I'm a little disappointed in myself too. The greatness that is the Kevin Owens show. I will rectify that. But the rest of Raw was generally okay. Brian Kendrick got a win over TJ Perkins. It was fine. They're developing TJ. But he needs a little bit more. He needs to stop acting so wooden. Than that. Based on his independent stuff, he's much better than that. It's just he's kind of got to let it flow. And Brian Kendrick is the right guy of Kendrick's been gold. I'm really liking Brian Kendrick's heel run right now. The club, Cass, a minute. It was Big Cass beating Carl Anderson in like a minute. It was like a waste of time. That was a waste of segment. Just make the club the ass kickers that they're supposed to be, please. Big Cass can lose once in a while. It's okay. The Bailey Dana Brooke stuff was kind of interesting. I love the fact that Dana Brooke was too short to cheat. Had to play it off like a clean win. I thought that was pretty funny. It's a big win for Dana because essentially it was clean. She tried cheating and she just couldn't reach it. So, all right. You're going to make this bit of a story out of it. Excuse me. It gives Bailey something to do. I am work day. Sorry. I forgot what the wrestling. Oh, Bo Dallas. His segment was something. But the big segment was Paul Heyman cut a hell of a promo, and it set up Goldberg. Turn was a moment, romantic, whatever, but it was a legitimate moment because that was the first time in 12 years that Goldberg actually showed up in a WWE ring, WWE show. And he and Brock Lesnar got booed 20. That was the last time Goldberg was in the WWE. They're turning that moment, that much maligned match, kind of an event. Fairly good booking by Triple H, because we know it's him. But Goldberg is doing really good things. He came out. His entrance was perfect. He arguably the best promo of his entire career. I was telling you beforehand, Goldberg's not really a promo guy. In WCW, when Goldberg was at his most effective, he didn't say a whole lot, and he wasn't in the ring not for a long time.
Okay.
He was in the ring for like 5 minutes. All he did was he took some offense. Spear, jackhammer, who's next? That is Goldberg at his most effective. So him cutting a long-form promo like this was a bit surprising because it turns out improved. A great promo. Great, sold the match. At that moment at the end, it's like Brock Lesnar, you're next, but most importantly, Brock Lesnar, fuck you, dog. Usually I can play along with the dog nonsense, but tonight I just don't feel it. Sorry. But he was like, Brock Lesnar, you're last. It's like, wow. Kind of emphasize the whole scenario. It's like, this is it. This is the gunfighter's last shot. It's the last hurrah. Going out, guns a-blazing. It was a very powerful kind of moment. Probably his best promo. I'm not saying Goldberg can't work a wrestling match. He absolutely can. There's this match in WCW that he had with Diamond Dallas Page that was outstanding. That was the match where they ran over and the pay-per-view company cut it off. The match. They ran the entire match the next night. But it was anticlimactic because everybody knew at the end that Goldberg won because he showed up at the beginning of Nitro with the title. WCW do that.
That's funny.
But Goldberg can go. It's just right opponent. It's just, is Brock Lesnar the right opponent at this day and age? I swear, I'm not even lying about this. I feel like Goldberg's last match should be kind of spent on putting over somebody currently on the roster. I feel like not Brock Lesnar or John Cena. I feel like his match should have been spent on like putting over Kevin Owens or putting over Seth Rollins or putting over Roman Reigns even. Goldberg would be better spent on that.
You're not wrong.
But here's the other thing. Goldberg wants to work with who he wants to work with. Made his own ticket, though.
Yeah.
I want to come back. I want to work with this guy, and this is it. I want to go in the Hall of Fame. That's it. So with Brock, he's going to get Brock. And the thing with Goldberg is, guys, he doesn't sell for anybody he doesn't think could legitimately kick his ass. What he was in WCW. Wouldn't sell for like Raven, Hugh Morris, or somebody like that. But he sold for this jobber who was 6'7" and a legit black belt in karate. He sold for this jobber who was 6'7", had a legit black belt in karate, but he wouldn't sell for actual wrestlers on the roster. Turned that jobber into a jobber for the Stars. He got a mid-card push out of it. So while I think like a dream match like Goldberg versus Kevin Owens or Goldberg versus Roman Reigns will be a better use of Bill Goldberg's one last match, I can't blame the guy for writing his own ticket. The match is going to be an event.
Yeah. You know, it's really too bad Ryback wasn't here still.
That would have been a fun match. Ryback versus Goldberg.
That's your match. That would have been that would have been perfect. It would have wrote itself. It would have been great. That would have been great. But you're not wrong. And you know what? You could even run. I mean, you might think I'm crazy, but they're doing this Braun Strowman push. It could have been Braun Strowman.
Yeah. Well, no, but yeah, you could have.
I mean, you know what I mean. It's kind of like the whole thing, but at the same time, their end game is with Brock Lesnar. They've been building this. Obviously, it was supposed to happen a couple years ago when he almost left, and now they're building to it when they think it'll probably be the end of his career in general, unless he resigns again. But they're building this as Brock being this unbeatable monster. He's going to go over. He's going to go over Goldberg. He'll probably go over at this year's Mania because it looks like it's going to be Shane McMahon. And then they'll find another filler opponent for him for SummerSlam again. He'll go over whoever that is. And then next year at WrestleMania, that will be, I think that's when his contract is up, I believe. That'll be 34, right? So that's 3 years. I believe that will be it. And that's when they're going to have somebody go over him. And that's when you're going to have your star that they want to have go over. Hopefully it will not still be Reigns, but that will be they'll pick somebody and say, all right, this is who we want you to put over, Brock. And that's what they're going to do because it's going to be a monumental rub, whoever Brock Lesnar loses to at Mania. Because you not only had him beat the Streak and go over Undertaker, you had him go over John Cena, and you know what? You know how people refer to it now. He beat Cena so bad, he sent Cena to mid-card hell permanently. That's what people say. Cena hasn't won a title match since, and for the most part, he's been in the mid-card. He dominated Cena. He dominated Orton. He's going to go over Bill Goldberg. That it's the unstoppable beast versus whoever you want to pit as the next big thing in WWE. And that's what they're going to sell when they finally do it. I thought they might do it this year, but it doesn't sound like they're going to do it. It sounds like they're going to do another year's worth of building up Brock Lesnar as this beast. And they started this really with, again, this latest push with SummerSlam when they had him do what he did to Orton. And they're going to continue that. They're going to continue to have him just destroy people like they did when they thought he was going to put Roman Reigns over at WrestleMania 31. That's what they're going to do with him. And you know what? Fine. You want to invest in it? Fine. It puts somebody over huge? Fine. As long as you put over the right person. Whether it's Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or whoever you want it to be, just invest in it and make it work. It cannot be Roman Reigns because nobody's going to buy it now. Cannot be Roman Reigns. Actually, I don't think it should be any of the Shield guys because they've already made their own path. Leave it alone. Go with somebody that hasn't had that. Go with somebody that, needs something like that at this point. We'll see. Mike, do you have any more thoughts on Raw?
I believe there's a James Ellsworth shirt.
You're still in shock. It's understandable.
Also, let me explain the main event of SmackDown tonight. The semi-main event of SmackDown tonight. They did a giant 6-man tag team match. Team champions, Heath Slater and Rhino. the wrongful Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler versus the hottest thing on SmackDown right now, not named James Ellsworth, The Miz. Spirit Squad. I don't understand that, but okay.
I don't have anything for you on that.
I don't either, but James Ellsworth has a T-shirt and is wrestling for the WWE World Championship down tonight.
Oh my goodness! Hey, well, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon did say guys were going to get opportunities, so here you go. Here's an opportunity.
I would sign this. I would sign this guy to SmackDown immediately, and give him a mid-card championship match.
I was reading somebody's post. They said that James Ellsworth had more credibility to beat Miz than Dolph Ziggler.
He does. He does. Isn't that sad?
Sign that. We should have kept the title on Miz for James Ellsworth. That would have been pretty epic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So we talked about Raw. One of the big topics of today has been a post by Mick Foley this morning indicating that Sasha Banks and Charlotte's Hell in a Cell match would main event Hell in a Cell, which is from Boston, Sasha's hometown. And then he later in the day took that back, saying he's not aware of what the main event will be. Now, some people say, well, maybe he saw that there was a lot of hate about that match main event in the show, which I don't understand. Look, I know a lot of people think that they're overdoing the Sasha Charlotte thing. It's been done. I understand that, but I don't see that why there should be hate if they want to look. If you're going to main event the pay-per-view at the Women's Championship match, there's no better match to do it with on the main roster in this match. These two have been tied together since NXT. You built this up for a better part of 2 years. It's a good. It's the best. It's the feud that would. It deserves to sell, and it's got more length there than any other feud you have. So I don't have an issue with it main eventing, especially when your Universal match is almost a rematch of last month, where we know Kevin Owens is going to retain. Especially, and this is in Boston. It's in Sasha's hometown. So it's the perfect recipe to finally do this and say, hey, ladies, we're giving you the main event. Show us what you can do with it. I don't have an issue with it. The only thing I don't want to see is Roman Reigns and Rusev main event, because I think they've killed that feud with what they've done. I think they put the title on Roman too early. I think they should have had one match where Rusev cheated to win, and then had Roman win the title, and then extended the feud out a little bit. They cut Rusev off at the knees a little bit too soon, in my opinion. But the only feuds the only two main events of that show should be either the women's match or Owens and Rollins, which I imagine they're going to add Jericho in some way. But those are only two. And I think Sasha versus Charlotte has more of a reason, especially given where you're doing it. And if you're ever going to do a main event like this, to do it now is a perfect kind of litmus test to see how people respond to it. I don't have an issue with it. So I don't know why Foley took it back. Only thing I'm thinking of is they didn't want him to say it when they said it. Maybe they wanted to make a big announcement on Raw next week. But I don't think it's because they saw people bashing it. And I don't understand why people are bashing it to begin with, because to me it's a good thing. But Mike, you have anything to add?
Okay, arguably, I am the wrong person to ask about this.
That's true. That is true.
I feel like Kevin Owens should be main eventing the show. I feel like the Universal title should be main eventing the show. Look, Boston would be a good place to have the Raw Women's Championship be defended in a Hell in a Cell for the first time ever. That would be a good place to have the main event. You were sitting there saying that Kevin Owens is going to win. Banks is going to win.
True.
It's not like judging by everything, you know how this ends. I have won at 12 straight pay-per-views, blah, blah, blah. Sasha's only beating me on Raw.
Yeah, but isn't it more of a moment for Sasha than Owens? Sasha never won on pay-per-view before.
Is it more of a moment for Sasha than Owens?
He's a face, too.
Yeah, I know Kevin Owens is a face. That being said, I do think it would be a good opportunity to have it main event the show.
Right.
I think Sasha and Charlotte main eventing the show, giving Sasha her first pay-per-view win, giving Sasha her first main event win on pay-per-view, giving Sasha her first Hell in a Cell win, her first pay-per-view loss since NXT. I think it's a good idea. I do think it's a good idea. But on the other hand, my guy, WWE Universal Champion, and he's wrestling Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. What do you think I want to end the night? What do you think I want the main event to be? Sasha and Charlotte are capable of having a great match in the cell? Absolutely. I prefer to see my favorite wrestler wrestle Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell in the main event.
Oh, my God.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying that Sasha and Charlotte can't do it. I'm saying it would probably be the opportunity. Thing is that I'd rather see my guy main event because he's my guy.
Fair enough. I should have known better than throw you on that.
You should have known.
All right, so you know what? We'll see if that. I still think it's going to be the main event, but we'll see. But that was a big story today. Another big.
But then again, the main event of that show would end up being, according to Vince, based off of No Mercy, the main event of that show will end up being Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman in a singles match. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not. By the way, Mike, read the SmackDown spoilers.
All right, I will.
I'm not going to spoil it for people on the air. I hate to tease you. If you're interested, you can check them out. They're available. If not, then I'm not going to spoil for you on the show. But you can look them up if you want them. But the main event spoiler is interesting.
James Ellsworth hits a super kick.
Yeah, that's not what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what I'm looking at. I'm waiting for you to burst out in laughter.
I'm looking, but you gotta. No, I don't. He's not the champion, is he? No, he's. I don't know.
I'm sorry for going quiet, folks. I'm just in legit shock right now. No, he's not the. I'm not gonna. Okay, I'll just say this: he's not the champion. I hate to spoil that, but he's not
champion. But that doesn't really spoil the result. Oh my god!
You see what I mean?
Yeah, they're really pushing this guy.
And apparently, the crowd reaction was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's like he's gonna start to get Daniel Bryan kind of chance now, isn't he? Oh my god!
So I guarantee you, like the most over guy on the roster if they don't watch out.
Hey, AJ Styles versus James Ellsworth, WrestleMania this year. Justin just yelled, "Book it" from upstairs. So Mike, I think I'm starting to see how they're going to legitimize the Universal title. They're going to have James Ellsworth in the WWE World Championship feud, and they're going to say that legitimizes the Universal title better.
Why not?
Anyway, you can read the full SmackDown spoilers; they are available. I just couldn't believe what I read when I saw that. One of our fans sent that to me, and I was in complete awe of that. Another big story today was this has been talked about for a couple of days now, but apparently the Undertaker was spotted on.
Hold on. Apparently, James Ellsworth used a super kick in that match, and David Otunga, with his call of the year, called it no chin music. One call made David Otunga much better than Byron Saxton.
Oh my goodness! I can't wait to watch that. It's gonna be unintentionally funny. As I was saying, the Undertaker has been spotted on crutches recently. Apparently, people said it's fairly recent because in September he was at a wedding. He was not on crutches. Well, apparently it's been said that the Undertaker has had recent surgery on his hip. Take of that what you will. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors that the Undertaker might not wrestle this year, that he might be done, blah, 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 blah. Just food for thought here. I thought I'd bring this up. It's a story that's been going around today. There's been rumors for the last couple of days that there's something going on with him. He's been on crutches. So, now I will say this much. This is not the first time that as late as October, as late as the October before WrestleMania, that Undertaker is on crutches. You know, Mike knows, there's been times where he's gone right up to December being injured. So,
and then he comes walking out in March, walking out in February, choosing his opponent.
Yes. So I wouldn't read too much into it right now. At all. So keep that in mind. Also, obviously a big story of the weekend was Paige proposing to Alberto Del Rio. So we want to wish congratulations to them. Obviously that's been an interesting saga. The more interesting story, well, not the more interesting story, but the story that's gotten a little more discussion today has been Ryback, who, obviously has been making the rounds. He has his podcast. He's constantly talking about things in WWE that he presented and all this other stuff. Well, an interesting thing was that today he came right out and mentioned a program that he had pitched to Vince McMahon featuring Brock Lesnar. Now, Mike, I had told you over the years, I heard rumors that Ryback was pushing a Brock Lesnar match.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we never really heard the details, but now he's come out. He did an interview with Busted Open Radio. And in this interview, he mentioned what specifically he had pitched to Vince. And I'm going to read this in detail so you can find this story on several dirt sheets. Here, he presented this idea to Vince. And the idea would culminate in him facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Ryback revealed he went to Vince with this idea and told him that if he built properly, the angle between him and Lesnar could lead to WrestleMania breaking some records. Ryback furthered that the idea would see him leave WWE for about 6 months, okay, and go back to his hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, and join an MMA fight camp. The idea would be that they'd have to really make it look like Ryback was done with WWE and firmly entrenched in an MMA fight camp. Ryback would remain in the fight camp full-time for about 6 months, leading fans to believe he was finished with WWE and training full-time for an MMA debut. Instead of having an MMA fight, however, he would return to WWE in a surprise move and challenge Brock Lesnar to a fight at WrestleMania.
Oh my God, did you guys watch?
That's okay. Ryback then explained that the idea went over Vince's head, and he questioned whether or not Vince might be out of touch for not biting on the idea, which he said he had been advocating for nearly 3 years. So that's his specific plan for what he's been mentioned over the years. Have been mentioned that he was interested in a Brock Lesnar match. Now we know what he was pitching to Vince. So, Mike, what do you think of Ryback's idea?
He'd go to an MMA camp and train for 6 months, come back, and then fight Brock Lesnar.
Yes. He'd make it look like he left WWE. They want to make it look legitimate, like make it like this big deal, and that he'd come back and face Brock. Because he felt like the best way to build himself would be to make it look like he was going to MMA, because then he'd be like, it looked like he was like had the same training as Brock a little bit. I guess that was his way, because I don't think it comes off more like Ryback didn't trust WWE to build him up right. So by leaving, he could help build himself up with the MMA stuff and then come back. You know what I mean? So
I can say that I actually think the idea would have been fine, because we go between like 3 to 6 months between Brock Lesnar appearances anyway.
Sure.
That idea. I kind of like that idea. Now that it's kind of like stewing, like Ryback just goes and then trains in MMA, shut up, dog, for 6 months. Back.
Sorry.
And just like, I'm ready to fight Brock Lesnar now.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of, it works on a level. It does.
It's different.
Especially if you like have Brock Lesnar and his comebacks, like Brock Lesnar's just assaulting somebody.
Yeah.
I've got no competition. Nobody could beat me. I'm Brock Lesnar. Oh, I eat people. Next music just comes out and you see him trunks, or even better, that singlet that he used to wear that had all the which was really cool. The Ryback come out and just you kind of make it a moment.
Yeah.
Back get the better of Brock, and you make his return mean something.
Yeah.
That would be great. Here's the thing with Ryback is, he shouldn't have been heel at the end. He was still over.
Yeah.
With Ryback, he was still over. You could have done something with him. Jesus. That would have been a fine moment.
The cool thing too is,
not gonna lie,
they had a perfect way to do it when they ran that whole freaking firing angle, or when one of the times that Ryback was off screen for like 6 months. You know what I mean? They had opportunities to do it.
You have opportunities to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I think it's a cool idea, and it's out of the box, and it's cool.
You could have made Ryback a huge star. And all of a sudden, he's back at that level that he was at 2012. He's a huge deal. He's a huge star. It would work.
Yeah.
I would be fine with it.
Oh, yeah. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about, and this has been a huge story, and it's starting to gain traction. Even Forbes has published the story. WWE officials have been discussing the possibility, I know people are going to laugh at this because we've been hearing this for years, of turning John Cena heel. And it's apparently been in more serious discussion than ever in the past. The reports, and this comes from Forbes as well, I mind you, the reports are claiming that his role with the company isn't as strong as it once was when he was wrestling. The belief is that if they turn Cena heel now, WWE would be able to utilize him more by helping the next generation of top baby faces get over. It'll be a potential boost in the ratings. They feel the audience might tune in more. They need a big surprise. The idea is that Cena will return from his hiatus and later enter into feud with The Undertaker to culminate at WrestleMania 33. They think that this could be a good setup for the heel turn. Again, this is a lot of outlets that are not just dirt sheets are picking this up, including Forbes. I don't know, and there's been also talk of aligning him with a heel stable. I told Mike a little bit about some of the things I'm hearing about that last night. Obviously, this has been going on for a number of years. There's been a lot of rumors of a John Cena heel turn, blah, 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 blah. You will believe it when you see it. I do think, I'll just say this before I throw it to Mike, I do think there's more opportunity for this now because of the fact obviously, they can't rely on him as heavily now because he's not around as much. Okay? And the crowd is more in favor of him. So when the heel turn happens, it would matter more across the board. I do think there's more. I mean, the chances are probably a little bit higher than they've ever been at this particular point. But I still will believe it when I see it. I don't mind the idea. I do think there's a lot of matches that you can get out of him as a heel. I don't mind the idea. I just don't know if I like the stable idea because, especially given some of the names that are rumored. I'm not going to mention them. Some of the names that are rumored to be in a stable with him. But Mike, do you believe a Cena heel turn is coming? I didn't think so.
No, I mean, you told me the idea last night, and it was all amusing, and yeah, it was intriguing. Like, oh, all right, that sounds interesting. If they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. And besides, John Cena already does heel things occasionally while being a babyface. So, at this point, I even try. John Cena is not the babyface you need to be turning heel. He's still your top seller. He's still one of your biggest draws. In the twilight of his career, why turn him heel now?
Yeah.
Would there be some impact? Yes. Who cares?
Yeah.
You've already got a heel on SmackDown. His name is AJ Styles. You don't want to just build him up a little bit. You want to go with a heel that gets booed all the time. Just use the Miz.
Yeah.
John Cena at this point, if John Cena ate a couple more losses a year, I think everybody would be happier. But with that being said, why would they turn him heel at this point?
See, to me,
he's untouchable.
The biggest thing to me is, like, I understand, like, you're not as relying on him, but see, that to me is the reason why I wouldn't do it, because if he's going to be off for so much of the year now, like, the impact of it's not going to be as big because, okay, you do it after WrestleMania, you have him there for a couple months, maybe the SummerSlam, and then he takes 6 months off. What good is that going to do? You're going to lose all the momentum. Back when he was there all year, it would have mattered more because it would have been right in your face all the time. Now it's just kind of like, okay, ho-hum, who cares? I mean, it's just pointless to do it now. I mean, okay, the shock value of it in the moment would be awesome, but after that, it'd be like, okay, well, you're gonna go with it. You know, it's I don't know, but it's a rumor and it's one that's gaining traction, so make of it what you will. Make of it what you will.
Yeah, let me reiterate. He is not the top face that needs to turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
We all know it's Roman Reigns.
Yeah, well, I'm not convinced that he's already basically a heel, just presented as a face. But I should also add too that Bubba Ray Dudley is teasing a return to WWE with his Bully Ray gimmick, and I guess he made a tweet today that mentioned, remember the Alamo. And everybody's thinking that he's going to return at the Royal Rumble as heel Bully Ray.
Okay. Bully Ray was a solid gimmick for TNA. He was a leader of Aces and Eights back when that was good for all of 2 months. He was a solid heel.
Yeah.
He was a guy who could talk, guy who could get over. The problem is,
yeah. Well, who needs a heel?
I think use for him as a monster heel on SmackDown. There is no use for him as a monster heel on Raw.
Right. So SmackDown it is. SmackDown. That would be the optimum place for him. Again, I was surprised when him and Devon left. I thought we were going to get the heel turn and they were going to stick around. I was surprised when they both left. It's starting to sound like maybe they just wanted some time off or something, or I don't know what happened, but he is teasing it, and it would be cool. They need all the talent they can get, and it would be an effective heel. They could use some heels on SmackDown. That'd be the perfect place for him. You could really help things. He could. And then you're right. The Bully Ray gimmick was really, really good. So, we'll see. But that's something to think about as we get closer to the Rumble. He could be one of those surprise entrants. All right, so that's all the things that we have to cover. We got through everything. We even did a couple of things I wasn't planning on doing. Really quickly before we start to wind down, let me give you a quick score update on the NLCS Game 3 that's taking place here tonight. Again, that game on Fox Sports 1. NLCS Game 3. Right now, let's see here. Trying to pull up everything's loading really slow right now, so bear with me here. Let's click this off here because that might be what's causing it. There you go. Let you know in a second here as this all loads. ESPN's okay. 4-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the 6th, 2 outs, 2 on still for LA. So Dodgers getting out in front here, up by 4 with 2 men on, still threatening. Jake Arrieta's had command issues. So that's been a problem for him this year. So the Dodgers right now looking pretty good against the Cubs as they head into the later innings here. So 4-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the 6th of Game 3 of the NLCS series, tied 1 game apiece. 2 on, 2 out for the Dodgers. Again, this game on Fox Sports 1 if you're interested. You've had home runs by Grendel, Justin Turner, Corey Seager had an RBI single. So Dodgers up right now on the Cubs 4-0, bottom of the 6th. So we'll see some danger time here for the Cubs in this game right now. So again, that game on Fox Sports 1 if you're interested. So with that, at that score update, we will wind down. As always, the show might be over. It does not mean you have to stop interacting and contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard by emailing us or tweeting us or Facebooking us, your feedback, your questions about the show and the scheduling of the show. Reactions, comments, or opinions on things we talked about, things we said, any topic ideas, or breaking news items you want us to cover from sports, entertainment, wrestling. You can send any of those things to us by email, Facebook, or Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. You can use the hashtag itspotlight411, or come up with your own hashtag. This is one. We encourage you, though, if you could, to use the hashtag ITS in that hashtag. So, just put ITS in that hashtag. This helps promote us a little bit if you could. Makes it really easy. So if you're doing football, hashtag ITS football, wrestling, hashtag ITS wrestling. You all know the drill. And please do not, whether it's in your hashtag or your tweet, do not be disrespectful or offensive. That's all we ask. There's enough of that going on in the world. We don't need to add to it. So that's the only thing we ask about that. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and make sure you like our page upon finding it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about our show, especially as it relates to scheduling. Sometimes there's last-minute postponements, delays, especially with the football shows on Fridays. Obviously, that time can move at a moment's notice. So best way to keep track of all our updates, scheduling updates, and we even post some opinions on there. But the best way to get the best information about our show is to follow us on Facebook and Twitter regularly so you always know what's going on. Again, you get opinions from us too on there. So make sure that you do that. We encourage you to do that, so make sure that you do that. You have a number of ways to keep up with our show and look back at classic episodes. If you're more of a fan of streaming, maybe you like seeing us on screen. That's the thing you're comfortable with. And maybe you're only interested in more of our recent episodes, not necessarily our way back from 4 or 5 years ago episodes, but more of our current episodes, maybe something from the last year. Then you want to check us out here on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to every episode we've ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube, which is every episode from the last year of our show. They're all available to you anytime you want to stream them. So if you missed an episode or want to watch an episode again or missed a part of an episode, whatever the case would be, you can do all that here on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 411. You can also, if you're interested more in audio podcasts, maybe you prefer to listen to us and not see us. Maybe you want to listen to us on the go. It's more convenient for you. If any of that applies to you, then you might want to check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 4-1 on both those sites, and you'll have access to not only our Google Plus and YouTube episodes from the last year, which are all transferred into audio format for you, but every episode we've ever done from 2010 on. So everything from our Blog Talk Radio run from October 2010 to January 2011, everything from Talk Shoe from January 2011 to October of last year, and then everything from Google Plus and YouTube, as I said, from mid-October of last year all the way up into tonight's episode. All those episodes, of course, transfer into audio format for you. Every episode we've ever done available for you in audio format to listen to on the go anytime you wish. So maybe you're missed an episode, missed a part of an episode, want to check out an episode again, or maybe you're a longtime fan that wants to look back at an episode from 3 or 4 years ago, or a new fan that never got the chance to check out episodes from a few years ago and you want to do that for the first time. If any of that applies to you, you can find us on Podbean and iTunes. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, all ways to keep up with our show. So make sure you search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites, and you can keep up with us, look back at classic episodes and all that good stuff anytime you wish. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
It is officially 100% time.
I want to thank myself for another great show, pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching, listening later, thank you to you as well. That is it for tonight. Next show, again, Thursday night, here on broadcasting and streaming live on Google Plus and YouTube at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time this coming Thursday. Again, we'll be doing our usual, it's our Entertainment Thursday, Box Office Beat, TV highlights, film picks, entertainment news. We'll be doing some stuff on, what's new shows, or returning shows are vulnerable to cancellation, all that good stuff. And we're going to do a special segment, Spotlight On segment. I'll tell you more about it on Thursday. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Don't want to get into it tonight, but I'll mention it more on Thursday when we start the show and kind of set the stage for it. That we'll be doing all that on Thursday, our Entertainment Thursday. And, of course, Friday, the In the Spotlight Football Blitz, currently scheduled for Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will, of course, as we always do, we'll look back at the NFL and college football from this past weekend and look ahead to this weekend in the NFL and college football. That, of course, again, on Friday. So that's what's coming up the rest of the week. So until our next show, this coming Thursday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. See you back here, broadcasting and streaming live here on Google Plus and YouTube at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time this Thursday, which is October the 20th. Until then, have a good night, everybody.